Welcome back to another episode. Coming back from a little bit of a vacation, dead of summer. Thought it'd be nice to take some time. Things got a little bit busy, so we're about probably been about a month since we last talked to you all, but I'm glad to be back. We had quite a bit happen, just with the draft. Obviously, we talked about that a little bit. But a lot of the acquisitions, departures. We see a lot of players leave the Pistons. We also got some new faces that we're going to dive into. And then from there, really we'll look at how Okorie, played Summer League. Chaz Lanier. That's also, you always want to look at some of those second year guys that were on the roster last year, and that you're seeing what they're going to kind of do, what kind of jump they make. We'll talk about just the production that they had in Summer League and how that looked. Shout out to them for playing all the games. Um,
Very true.
And then and then from there we'll go really the elephant in the room. The elephant feels like they might have left the room. I don't know. Like Duren has been radio silent. You haven't heard a peep
Yeah,
since
it's alarming.
day after
Yeah,
4th of July. At least according to at least like the last guy I've heard. So either way, we'll jump into all of it. Like I said, just talking about some of the departures, acquisitions. I think to start, I'll kick it over to you, and just diving into, what that looks like overall, and we'll go from there.
yeah. I think you keeping it humble. Yeah, we took a couple of weeks off because we was negotiating with Underdog to replace Gil and them. No, we no,
Pretty good deal. They lowballed.
yeah, yeah, no, but no, I think we talked about it right after kind of the playoff debacle, if that's what you want to say. Kind of the falling apart right at the end. Getting stunned in the first round, having to fight our way back all the way to just getting stunned the game in game 7 again. So I think we talk about roster reconstruction, and I'd say minus the elephant in the room, assuming he is on the team, we've done I think a very good job of overhauling the roster. We said that we needed to load this place up with shooters. We said we needed to load that we would opt into dropping back to like the 10th, 11th defensive team if it means we can shoot up into also like the 10th or 11th officer ranked team. And I look at this squad, some of the people we picked up,
Yeah,
um, with John Collins being the focal point of that. I feel great about it. Isaiah Joe, deadly 3-point shooter, 40% for his career.
underrated. You can kind of get his own bucket too.
Yeah,
Underrated with that,
yes.
from what I
No,
see.
I think a player like him, you always get worried about them system players, for lack of a better term.
Right.
But I think one thing that does translate very well is shooting. Shooter
Hmm.
to shoot. And I think that's a systemless asset that you can have as a player. So I think I'm not overly scared about that. And also playing within the restraints of having a rotation of 12 good players
Hmm.
versus, hey, you are our seventh man off the bench, sixth guy, in the rotation. I think that's a different thing he can step up to the plate. So I think overall, great job of just roster reconstruction. Hate to see Isaiah Stewart leave. That's the biggest um,
Stuff.
loss. Him and Tobias. Him and Tobias, kind of a toss up, but I think getting John Collins back, you kind of replace that. It's impossible to replace the energy, the toughness that Isaiah Stewart brought, kind of just that intensity, the bodyguard. Really all defensive player. He just wasn't eligible due to minutes. If he would have got increased minutes, he would have been off defensive player probably the last 3 years running. So,
Yeah,
that sucks to lose. But I think we said we would sacrifice offense for defense, and that looks like that's what the roster got built up to do.
for sure. Yeah. Big fan of, acquisitions. I think, like I said, Isaiah Joe, that really being one of the favorites of mine personally. Last season, 71 games played, 11 points, just over one assist a game, 2.5 rebounds a game. And you just see how loaded up that OKC team was. So you just want to see, like you said, me making like a potential six man, like, maybe getting an additional 10 to 15 minutes a game, um, production
Leap.
he can get with that.
Right.
And playing with a different type of like superstar as well, where SGA was more just like a scoring guard, and now you're gonna have a guy that's gonna find you if you're open. He's gonna create. You're gonna be open quite a bit. He's gonna, put that pass right in the shooting pocket. He's gonna have him, good to go. So he's got to knock him down. But yeah, so I echo a lot what you said. I mean, as far as just, the shooting, uh, Herder, we don't see, I know he's a little banged up, didn't, play all that much, wasn't as impactful. You hope we got one to discount, I'd say. You'd hope that, training camp getting back healthy, we'll see
Mm.
what he can do. I don't know if Duncan Robinson going to stick around. People kind of see he might get waived. Torian Prince, he shoot a little bit. He's played, he's been a solid role player on some
He's
playoff
good. He's a good guy
contenders.
just to have on the unit. Yeah.
Yep. So we got a lot of guys to where, and I think even the roster looks like I'm looking at it right now. You got a lot of guys like Gary Harris. Probably not done yet. There might be, so you can get, sign and trade. We'll talk about Duren here in a second, or later on here. But I do just like they're prioritizing the spacing around Cade. I think that's really just that was something that was an emphasis. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what else is to come.
No, I don't think we're done with the moves. I think what we've done is shape the roster. We're going to take this unit into the season, and then I imagine we're going to reevaluate. We have a lot of nimble contracts, nimble players, desirable players that people want. So I
Yeah.
think if we still got Ron Holland on the books, we still got people like that who's kind of an X factor. You get him in a trade package, a team might really be more interested in what he could do if he was more of a focal point. Players like that, I think we have a lot of good young talent still on the roster. Kevin Herter could get hot. We can keep him, get hot, and trade him. I think Gary Harris, I hope
Yeah,
for the best. I don't think he's gonna make it.
oh, what's up with him? I feel like
Yeah.
he was a solid, like he really fell off the face of the earth last
I don't
couple.
know if it's injuries I don't know about or what, but yeah, no, he yeah, I mean, we know a lot about him from Michigan State. Go back even further than that. He's from down by some of Sierra's peoples down in Indiana. So I've been hearing about him since as soon as he signed for state. They're like, oh, some dude down here for signing. So I don't know what the hell happened.
Yeah.
But no, nice little run for a while. But if you want a resurgence, it's not time.
Hmm. For sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had a solid career. I mean, he's played since 2014. He's been playing he's been around quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, yeah, you never know. Like you said, resurgence. But I think, and then one we really touched on, John Collins. I think that was even more interesting. It was like that was kind of a more, really, really intrigued by that one because he can play the five.
Yeah. I
Kind
think
of got
good deal.
shoot the three.
Yep.
He was in purgatory
Mm-hmm.
in Utah, just getting after it. I don't know what they do in Utah. They're not trying to win no games, but they're barely playing basketball at this point. But he found a way to, have a good couple of seasons with the Clippers for a little bit. So looking forward to him. And I like this. I like the fact he can play the five though. That's huge.
Yeah. I think he in the ilk of I think he's gonna run a lot of those. Not that he has a game like Tobias Harris, but a lot of the Tobias Harris minutes will be his.
Yeah.
And I think, just overall, it's going to just shape the way we play differently. He's a bit of a stretch four, tweener, like you say. He can do a lot. So I just looked another 40% from three guy.
Yeah.
He has like 3 or 4 seasons where he's hit over 40%. Every year he's missing by a handful of percentage. So hit about one a game. So I think, that's just what we're continuing to do. You're building that roster around Cade, the spacing, you make a decision.
Just imagine him at the five taking that big out the paint. Or or
Exactly.
catching a lob. Like I mean, it's now we'll
Yeah,
say
that's an interesting little lineup when you talk him and then maybe throw like a Ron Holland a Sar at the 4 and whatever. You can get real interesting and try to get small ball out there.
yeah. His nickname is the Baptist. I didn't know that. But I think my only thing with him, I do like the the 3-point percentage. That's nice. I think it's more he takes 3 a game. So
Mm-hmm.
and it's probably more just kind of like corner three, But I do like that. There is a slight concern. It's like how much more dynamic are we like compared to what we have with Tobias Harris? Because I don't know, can John Collins kind of get his own bucket? You know what I'm saying? Because now I think
Yeah,
it's
no,
like
that's what I said. I
everything.
think I agree. He's not. He's not. That's what I said. I don't think he's going to play the minute. He'll take Tobias Harris minutes. I don't think he's going to play the similar game. I don't that
Yeah,
that little high post fadeaway jumpers, all that. I think we will be missing that. But I think pure explosiveness of the unit. We're not going to have those. I don't think there's going to be many games next year where we're 4 of 28 from three.
yeah,
I don't know.
for sure. Yeah, we
So
definitely yeah, like no, for sure. Because we'll we go to Duren here in a second, but yeah, I think just overall we are a little bit more dynamic, more run and gun. Like you got guys who can go hit these wings and you know start just kind of like stay around that 3-point line. Cade find them open because I think even too like I personally think Asar Thompson needs to play more point guard. And I
mhm.
think the more shooting, even you can even have him some of these pick and rolls, give him opportunity to get to the basket, find people open, work on his offensive game. Because I do think they almost gotta like force his offensive game. We got to get him to like that. Not, I
Yeah,
mean, points like okay, 14 and 15 a game, but I just think he needs to get more confidence and like, can we get the layup to like the floater to like the mid range, like while we're working on the three.
I, I like the rare minutes where we forced him to play point guard last year, and I do think it kept him more interested. I think he tends to just kind of disappear on offense, and
I'm not dunking
he'll run.
shot.
He'll run in and try to get a rebound or something. He'll do that, but he's never looking for a shot.
Right.
So I think that forces him to be more active, and he is a hell of an athlete, a pretty good decision maker. So I do like that, and I think we have another tough decision is ultimately what's Cade like. We've said this before. You see, obviously you want to have the ball in your hands a lot, but are you the point guard, or do we need to go really get a point guard?
Yeah.
And if you
So
aren't
Corey
the
could
point
be
guard,
in it.
yeah,
Can you start a Corey by Cade? I don't
yeah,
know.
not this year, but I think they do think that's maybe the vision future. But I think the way they keep drafting point guards, I think they kind of are proving that it's that maybe he wants to have a primary point guard on the team. And I think that's fine with me. I'm cool with him playing the point guard 50% of the time and kind of handling it off. But I think because of that, he'll need to develop that Kobe high post, that Melo high post, the Tobias Harris
We
moves.
saw a lot more of it just
Yeah,
this year.
because we can't have somebody running point just for you to stand on the corner now. We gotta we need you to
Take advantage of mismatches.
get up a level 2, level 3 game here where you're just unstoppable. And then I think he can push that up to. I think if he wanted to, he could hover around 30 a game now. But I think getting a couple more solid go-to moves,
Yeah.
uh, I think that's it needs to be in his wheelhouse to take that MVP type leap.
And not running
And
him to the ground because I mean we've kind of seen how he's in. I mean this injury was fluke with the back, but like he kind of starts to run out of steam towards the end of these last 2 seasons. We were worried because he sat with that calf injury. When they
yeah,
when they played the Knicks in the playoffs. I think this passing. I mean I think he did have some. Obviously he had that injury, but I think he might have had a couple little ailments just kind of towards the end of the season that had us a little wrist injury. So I don't know. We gonna see, man. Because I
you
mean,
see what the Cavs did. The Cavs said we gonna lean on this dude whenever he brings the ball up the court. We're just gonna pester him. We're gonna have a dude run in front of him, just
yeah,
pecking at the ball, whatever. Just make it, and then as soon as he starts to get any type of motion, get a couple baskets, whatever, we start double teaming, and we just going for it. I think, and that with Duren being missing and whatever, I think that just you could see, like you said, he was so tired at the end of the 7 games and
yeah,
playing with a half a lung or 1.5 lungs. It's like
yeah.
it was a lot working against him. But I think I like the moves overall. Paul Reed get additional minutes. I think
Yes.
if we had a little, stat generator we could find, I'm sure they could find something that he had to have one of the highest plus minuses in minutes played this year. Like every time he came in the game, very high impact. So I think you pencil him in for 20 minutes a game. getting a lot of those Isaiah Stewart type minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Not that he's a bruiser like him, but I think that's just it's a good roster spot to have. Good dude that's a mismatch and always be giving solid minutes. So I like the way the roster's building up. Dennis Jenkins, another year under his
Yeah.
belt. Um, Devontae Green, even
Mm-hmm.
just players that kind of
That I love
maybe
that
a
we
blow.
signed Javante Green. I think that was like a sneaky. I mean, we signed him in like September last year, like just
Yeah.
so under the radar, and he played 82 games
Yes.
and
No.
averaged like 7, 8 points. A couple. Yeah, I mean, very very productive role player. Loving how the team is turning around. Like like you said, turn out and I don't think they're done yet. We'll touch on Duren a little bit here too, obviously, but. There's just a lot of guys in this roster right now that we could, probably might be moving around a little bit, trying to get in one of them 4 or 5 team deals. We already got to the 6 team deal. With Sasser and all them leaving. Or Sasser going to Dallas, I should say. But yeah, want to touch on Summer League. Really just Chaz Lanier and Ebuka Okorie. Think I think they showed up and showed out. I did not, already mention I'm just happy that they played. We didn't do this. We're gonna be here for 2 games, and we're gonna be on the, sitting by the actual team. Like we don't need the work. What were your thoughts on what they were able to do?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with Chaz Lanier, a guy who I guess last year we were kind of high on him. I think you highlighted him before the draft. Um, we ended up getting him, so a dude that we knew a lot about, had watched tape on, and he just kind of was just non-existent throughout the season. Never really had a splash at all. And then I even kind of joked with you after that first summer league when he was 0-4, I believe, or like 1-8 or something. And I was like, I don't think, I don't think he's gonna make it. And then he seemed to start around after that. So, I think he's in an interesting spot where he, you can come in and shoot even 37, 38%, play some solid, okay defense. You're gonna find yourself playing 15, 20 minutes a game.
Hmm.
Uh, you know, if the way the season works out, the way so I hope for that for him, but it's just kind of it's tough. I think so. I guess another year. You can remind me on this. I think he was like an older player when we got him. Like
He's
he
a
wasn't a one.
junior.
Yeah.
He's like a junior
So
in college. Yeah, started at Florida Gulf Coast, transferred
yeah,
to Tennessee.
yeah. So I'm saying that to say that I would have a little more hope if he was like a 19-year-old dude. But if you're already kind of like you said, you're gonna have to you got to put production. So I was
Right.
glad to see him kind of get hot over the last every game, but the first game, shooting the lights out. Uh,
Finished strong.
yeah, I think he led the team in scoring. If you got his averages, you could.
Yeah,
But
not averages, but I do have just, he played, slow start that first game. Um, really played. Finished 12 points, 1 assist from three, but then he had a game against the Cavs, and a game against the Knicks where he had 15 threes total. When he played the Cavs, he was 7 of 12 from three, and he played the Knicks, he was 8 of 12 from three. And all of his points were from three against the Knicks. So yeah, I mean, you at least like what he was able to kind of bounce back after a slow start. I think the thing with him, we just kind of had this one trick pony issue last year. And I do think we're a little more versatile, but I think it's gonna be one of those things where it's, what else can you do? Because you got Isaiah Joe, you got, Duncan Robinson, you got all these proven guys. I just hope that he can find a way to carve out some minutes. I do think he's a good player.
yeah,
Solid, jump shot, clean. Like he think he has quick release. I saw a couple times he's able to pump fake and side step, hit one. Where'd you go?